So how are you? I feel like there's like this new harmonization energy that wants to come in for the channel and for the collective here. There's multiple messages that kind of came streaming in, and it's funny that I was thinking about this kind of recalibration coming in, and I went to go turn on my sparkly lights as I sat down, and they're not working. But it's funny because I just ordered three new sets and they got here a few days ago. So I feel like that's a significance in the energy of like the old is completing, but we're already prepared with more than enough as we move into the new. So I had one set of string lights and I've had them for like a year and a half since I moved in. They just died. I got three sets waiting. And I feel like that's significant in the sense of feeling that all the work that we've been doing, we're outgrowing and surpassing where we were. But it's still really important to honor the path that got us here. And that's what I was feeling around the channel, like looking back to where I was in the messages that were coming in about a year ago, and just how much I myself have grown. And I can just imagine how much you feel that you have grown. I would love to hear from you in the comments if you want to let me know some of the ways that you feel you've grown over the past year. And let's just honor that and acknowledge all the ways that we've grown and expanded and the things that we've released and dissolved. Um, just even if it's one or two things that you want to honor, I know that there's been a lot, but you can go ahead and feel free to honor that right here in the comments. And it got me thinking about the topics that I talk about on the channel because we're definitely talking a lot about our own ascension and evolution as individuals and how to embody that in our day-to-day life while we're still managing being human on this planet during these transitionary times. And that's like an important piece that I love no matter what I talk about, because as we honor the process of that, we're holding space for our own transformation. Hence why I've been talking about that idea of giving ourselves space and grace, realizing that we're going through so much of a huge process, maybe more than we've even realized or acknowledged up to this point. But also, you guys that are here with me have known that I've talked a lot about the twin flame topics, initiations, and or the divine masculine and divine feminine collectives. It's starting to become more and more clear to me that I really connect with, on a deeper energetic level, the core of where the masculine and feminine energies are at the forefront of the shift for the planet. And I obviously can't speak in absolutes, but it seems to be that I'm connecting with where the heartbeat and the pulse is of the core purpose of why these collectives are working together, how they're working together. And this is regardless of how it might look in our actual physical life. At the core of these relationships and connections, there is a bigger collective purpose of us being here, going through these types of either ascension, evolution, or twin flame types of initiations. And I know that many of you here have gone through multiple types of initiations, be it your own ascension, but also your own evolution via a divine counterpart twin flame connection. And so I'm realizing I love connecting with the bigger core purpose of the twin flame or divine counterpart, masculine, feminine, collective purposes, because it keeps us actually focused on the higher and bigger purpose, as opposed to getting caught up in the day-to-day minutia. But I also think it's important to support those day-to-day experiences because those are the emotions and the experiences we're transmuting, and they are also equally as important as the bigger overall ascension purpose of the twin flame initiation. So I've been really diving into thinking it makes sense to honor that overall collective energy that all masculines and feminines are probably working on to some degree, whether they're aware of it or not. But then also, I want to start diving back into supporting directly the divine sacred masculine energies and what they're experiencing at this time on the planet, and also equally bringing in another level and layer of support for the divine sacred feminines that are also um, walking this process. Okay. And again, you can listen to any or all of these and gain support from them. But I again am feeling called to acknowledge the differences in what we're doing on a bigger planetary collective ascension scale altogether, but then also what we're experiencing in a more individualized energy in our day to day lives. So, how does our energy, how is it translating the energies that our souls are bringing in to support the ascension? How is it translating and looking in our day-to-day life? Because that's where the real transformation and magic happens. We can connect with all of this gorgeous energy. We can connect with the energetics of it, which is a very important piece. But how we're taking that energy, utilizing it, and embodying it in our day to day presence in this physical body on this planet is where that energy and essence gets to take form and shape as we build these new foundations in the new co-creations in the new energy. So, of course, you guys who have been here with me, you know I work very deep in the energetics in my own system, in the subconscious, in the quantum fields, in the dimensional fields, the ancestral fields. We could go on, right? We do this, but it's all ultimately to discover supports on how to take those energies and translate the higher codes and keys that we're bringing into our bodies and onto the planet, and actually creating them and building them in sustainable ways while still living our lives. Okay. Sure. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if this is helpful for you, if these types of topics make sense, where I'm bringing in support messages around the general overall ascension, right? I think I'm going to be doing that weekly check in for the week ahead. And it's not necessarily to predict how the ascension is going to go. For me, it's more about bringing you supports on how to cope with and work with the type of energetic and emotional topics or physical topics that might present as you move through your week, things to be aware of, things to pay attention to, so that you can kind of have that tip or that cue to say, oh, this is what we're working on collectively. So again, it's happening for me, not to me. So how can I work with this energy to glean and gain the most out of it for myself, for the week, for the planet in general, as we're moving and working together in these energies? And then again, like I was saying, working with the overall collective ascension purposes for the twin flame masculine feminine collectives in the heart of it, and then bringing in masculine supports and feminine supports for those day to day energies. I'm also genuinely and fully contemplating and really feeling kind of some excitement building around the idea of having a day or a time where we honor the work that we've been doing and honor and intend to continue to support that together as a collective group, perhaps offering shout outs and dedications to ourselves or to others on the channel or to those that we love, and really bring a sense of love and support and community to the channel. And my vision for that is to actually, I think, come on and offer those expressions of shout outs and dedications and love in this setting where we're all holding a container of love and unconditional love and support for whatever topics we want to share and bring to the table. So I know for me, sharing on the channel and holding the space for the support, I would like and love for us to infuse and strengthen those loving energies together. The unconditional love for ourselves, for our counterparts, for our family, for our friends, for those here, and just ways that we can learn more and more to truly embody unconditionally loving ways, and not in some of those old ways that we maybe, at least I'll speak for myself, I used to think of or experience unconditional love for another in a way where I was self-sacrificing. And I realized along my journey that that wasn't actually unconditional love. Because when we're truly in unconditional love, we're equally practicing unconditional love for ourselves. And as we learn to honor and care and be truthful with ourselves and start to hold that unconditional love for ourselves, then we can truly drop into being able to hold unconditional love for others, regardless of what they're doing, regardless of what they're choosing, and also being able to hold that frequency of unconditional love without judging or their choices, or at sometimes not even needing to participate in what's occurring. Sometimes we can choose to step back and hold our energy or focus on other things, but it doesn't diminish our love or our unconditional love for those people or um experiences. Okay, we can still hold love and choose where we're going to focus our energy and attention. So I've been really practicing these types of things very, very deeply. And I'm happy to say that I've come a long way in the past year where I was talking about these concepts and now embodying them in new and deeper ways. And I want to acknowledge that for myself and for you, because this is not easy work when we're going in and diving into these topics within ourselves. But what I noticed is once you start to understand that the parts that are uncomfortable are there to show you where to drop deeper into that love, it actually, for me, for a lot of the time, I was able to shift it almost into um I don't want to call it a game because that's not it, but it's like a fun challenge for myself where when things came up, instead of seeing it as wrong or bad or frustrating, I viewed it as a stepping stone for my next levels of evolution. And it changed the energy because instead of looking at it like there was something wrong with me or what was happening, I just started to actually work with what was present and work with where I truly wanted it to be with what was in my own personal control, because we don't have control of what other people do. So if it's very empowering to feel comfortable within your own self, within your own skin, and within your own choices, regardless of what anyone else is doing. Okay. And that is part of alleviating those energies of disappointment when others don't follow through in the way we thought that they might or may or hoped that they would. We're actually just dealing with what's true and present, and then filling in any of those places or spaces or holes or disappointments with our own love and what we can do to boost ourselves up and how we can show up for ourselves versus the old ways of self-betraying and attempting to try to get others to validate or support us if they just weren't ready or in a space to do that in a natural way. Okay. So I think what I would like to do, because I know this was kind of a new harmonization for the channel and the intentions. And I would, of course, love to hear from you. But I do want to bring in some messages to support this. And I was actually guided to get out the true love cards, which makes me happy because that was always the intention of this channel, to share more love and support in a time where it can feel like that's a difficult thing to experience or receive. And what do we got? What do we got? Emotional freedom. It really goes along with what I've been talking about, right? We're through these evolution processes, we're learning emotional freedom by one, showing up and honoring ourselves and honoring our own emotions and listening to what they're teaching us and understanding that uncomfortable emotions are actually our friend and they're there to tell us that something doesn't feel right, whether it's that we have to make some shifts in the experience that we're in, or if we're needing to look at some of our own internal patterns so that we can process through the emotions by honoring them and then truly come into a state of emotional freedom in a twofold way. One, actually being free of the old pent up intense emotions and trauma that were in our system via our old experiences when we stuffed it and we didn't know how to deal with it, where we froze it, thought it, dissociated, where our ancestors did the same. And as we're working in these pockets and thawing and restoring and bringing our true energy back home to our hearts and allowing our true emotions to guide us, as we work through the excess and we come into that mastery with the emotions, that's actually what creates a huge amount of emotional freedom because the past is no longer suffocating you and running you because you're stuffing those scary emotions. Now you've worked through them. You're in mastery of them for the most part. Of course, we're humans, but now you can hold open your heart and hold open your unconditional love while you are experiencing an array of emotions because you've learned how to hold that space for yourself. It doesn't mean that we don't experience the depths of emotions. In fact, the more I've been in a space to control more emotions deeper and have more stability around my emotional experiences, the more in depth I actually experience them. But this is a beautiful part of being human, is that we actually get to experience and express through an emotional connection. It's why we're all so drawn to music or movies or things of that nature or art because they evoke an energetic emotional expression. And those things can be especially um, evoking if we're suppressing our emotions. So we'll look for other outlets to help us process those. Okay. So with it, keep going, keep working, and you're doing great. This to me is signaling that we are reaching more stabilized states of emotional freedom, which is what our open hearts offer as a very beautiful fuel to actually create the new energies that we've been wanting to bring into our lives and into the present moment. All right, we're going to do one more. And we talked about this, reparenting yourself. Wow, we just talked about this the other day. So through these emotional freedom processes, a big part of it is reparenting ourselves from any aspect of our lives. Literally, some like last night, I kind of was going through a process of reparenting myself from last year. Now you might say, okay, of course I wasn't a kid, I was 45, but we're growing all the time. And on so many levels, we are. I've said we're at these infant stages of our evolution. So I myself personally go back to the moments in time where I still may have left some of myself a bit frozen because a year ago, I did not have the skill set or the abilities that I do right now. And I actually did find parts of myself kind of frozen and dissociated from last year. Okay. So I was reparenting myself from a year ago with all that I have learned now. Okay. So I wanted to bring that to your awareness because you can literally go reparent. If you've learned something new, you can just go and share those results with all the past versions of you from even yesterday or this morning. Okay. And this I have found to be really powerful because we think of it as the past and it's done. And yes, to some degree it is, but everything from an energetic standpoint is infinite and it's in your subconscious. So there's access to it all the time. And we have all this subconscious information from our entire life, but then also from the ancestors and from the collective on the planet. So if we can send results back to our own subconscious, our own past versions of ourselves, we're actually helping to open back up and bring access to more of our subconscious, bringing it into a new layer of consciousness and presence. This is what I've been finding. It's a big part of what we work on within my groups as well. We're kind of unraveling the old patterns, dissolving the clouds, bringing in the clarity and restoring your true energy to the present. And we also bring the results back and share them as well. All right. So this reparenting, yes, can go for your inner child, your inner teen, your inner preteen, but it can literally be reparenting the version of who you were yesterday. Okay, loves. So that's an important piece. That's how much we're evolving. That's how quickly we're growing by leaps and bounds. So share the results of what you learned today with who you were yesterday. Okay. I love you. I'm excited for these new vibes. I hope that you are too. And if there's any other types of topics that you would like to see on the channel, please let me know. Drop them in the comments. Go, message me over on the community tab, whatever feels right. I appreciate your feedback and I appreciate your co-creation of the channel, of the messages, of the harmony. All right. Well, I love you. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Love you. Bye.